Happy What's Up Wednesday, everyone. I miss you very much. Thank you so much for asking about how our Chief Counsel is doing. It means a lot to me and the entire Chief Counsel that you're thinking about us too. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about our mission. Specifically, I've been thinking about our people. We've always been a people first organization, and today it is even more important to understand that the phrase of our people was intended to apply to our staff too. The Chief Counsel, just like all of you, have the same virus-related stresses. And this new normal, including working remotely and working differently, has challenged us all. And like you, some have children and significant others or extended family at home with them. My mom, who's 90, as you all know, is staying with me, so that's been kind of a new normal for her. I'm hoping she doesn't like it too much, but she tells me that she's homesick for her apartment every once in a while. We have the same concerns about safety and health as all of you for our family and for one another. But your Chief Counsel has weathered many storms. Together we are strong. We're a resilient team who work really well together. We have the same focus of people first, keeping staff and residents safe. We're also very grateful we have all of you helping us initiate new ways to do things, new ways to look at how we can meet our mission while staying safe. And we're still able to use humor and remember to encourage each other to take care of ourselves. I'm sure many of you are doing the same things. Overall, this is a big challenge, unlike anything any of us have ever seen before. But this is a team I'd want working on a challenge like this, and it helps me sleep better at night knowing that we have such an amazing team who is used to having authentic conversations, to pushing each other, to asking the right questions. I want to thank you for asking about the Chief Counsel. We want to know the same about you. How are you doing? Please let us know how you're doing. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know if you have ideas. All of that matters to us. And thanks. I think all of us are doing just fine. We miss you a lot. Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, it's Gabe, Chief Operating Officer here at Team Seahawk. So I've been asked today to respond to a couple of questions that really boil down to, when do we get to come back to the office? What will it look like when we do get to come back to the office, and when will that happen? And let me begin by saying that the decisions that we make about how and when to resume our work are going to be based on science. They're going to be based on factual information and not speculation or conjecture. Our priorities at Cook Inlet Housing have always been about the safety and the well-being of our staff, of our residents, and also about the long-term health of the organization. And so far we've done a really good job of making decisions that are based on CDC guidance and information from state and local health officials. To be really clear, we are not targeting any magic date by which we expect to return to some semblance of normal operations. We plan to gradually return to resuming activities based upon the circumstances we're in and guidance from health officials. We can't say today what that's going to look like. Each functional area of the organization is going to be responsible for putting together a resumption of work plan. And that plan is going to have to balance safety, productivity, and CIHA's obligation to provide housing to the most vulnerable individuals in the communities that we serve. This is not a transition that we expect to be concluded at any point in May or in June. We expect that we are entering a phase that we're going to call our new abnormal. And we expect that phase to last anywhere from 6 months to as long as potentially 18 months. And that sounds like a really long time when there's talk right now of economies being reopened, but let me explain why. The why behind that is again based in science. Experts currently predict that it will take between 6 and 18 months to either develop a vaccine or for our population to develop what's called herd immunity. And herd immunity is just a term that means enough people in the community have become ill with the disease and developed an immunity to it, that they have quit passing on that disease, and it protects those in the community who haven't yet caught that disease from getting it in the first place. Johns Hopkins University says that herd immunity is usually developed at somewhere between 70 and 90% of the population having developed immunity to a particular disease. So we're a long way off from that at present. Again, until we have a vaccine or until our community develops herd immunity, our lives in the office and in the community aren't going to be the same. They will not be like they were. Our enhanced safety protocols with PPE, personal protective equipment, and social distancing will continue, and they're going to be adapted as necessary to ensure that we're taking all precautions that we can take. There's no playbook here. We just need to make measured decisions based upon sound science and factual information, assess the impacts of those decisions, and then adjust our approach accordingly when necessary. As a leadership team, our commitment to you is to maintain really good communication for the duration of this crisis. We appreciate the way that you've reached out to all of us, and we encourage you to continue to reach out to your supervisors and the members of the Chief Council with your concerns, your questions, and most importantly, your ideas. Thanks very much for the opportunity to address these really good questions today.
To tag on to Gabe's response to the question about our plan to transition back to working on site, a specific question was asked how we would handle an employee who is or who has a family member who may be immune compromised. I want to answer that question by saying that CIHA has demonstrated that we look at all issues intensely and thoroughly, and we work to develop processes that keep our employees as safe as possible. Like many Cook Inlet Housing HR issues, though, HR would work with the individual and the supervisor together to develop some possible solutions. We cannot, however, eliminate all 100% of the risk. But during this process, employees always have the ability to weigh the risk of possible exposure and their own health with their continued employment at Cook Inlet Housing. However, I am confident that in most cases, an agreeable solution can be found. Thank you.
Hope everybody's doing well, staying safe, spending time with your family, hunkering down, working hard from your homemade desk. The question is, how is COVID-19 affecting our development and construction activity plans? We're still working forward toward our closing transactions. We're completing designs, securing permits, procuring contractors, getting ready to go.
Hi, this is Tyler Robinson, Vice President, Community Development. I wanted to respond to the question that we received about what Cook Inlet Housing is doing to stay abreast of what's happening in the community. And specifically, when we, through our emergency operations plan, when we went to an incident command system, we have positions in that incident command system that are called liaison positions. Those liaison positions also exist in other organizations that have also initiated their incident command systems as well. So the liaison becomes a position that can talk to other liaisons and other organizations. In this case, also, we have liaison connections with the municipality of Anchorage in their emergency operations center. That allows us to, sort of reach out quickly to find out who we might need to talk to as situations come about at CIHA, but also allows us to sit in on daily calls with the Emergency Operations Center, and those calls include people like representing the hospitals. It includes the Emergency Operations Center staff running that for the municipality, includes updates from the mayor and the incident commander. So it allows us to have good connections to the broader community, but also for others to know how to reach us in case they feel like they need to reach us as well. Hopefully that helps. Thanks.
Here's a question. If the chief counsel puts employees back to work, will janitors be sanitizing and cleaning? I've noticed that they only have vacuums and brooms for cleaning, no disinfectant sprays, which worry us out in the field. So that's a great question. I'm going to answer it as it relates to the main office, 3510 Spenard, and the annex and the Learning Center. Pre-COVID, we had our janitorial services come 5 days a week, and then also around noontime, and the noontime service would be cleaning the restrooms and wiping down extra high frequency touch areas. Post-COVID, we worked with our janitorial service provider and agreed on providing the same level of frequency. But in terms of how they were cleaning, they now use disinfecting solutions, hospital-grade disinfecting solutions, and sanitize those high-touch areas like handrails and light switches and knobs. They also do extra cleaning of the flat solid surfaces like countertops and those sorts of things. Similar to in the annex as well. And then, and that will be the case in the Learning Center too, as we start to ease into going back to work, which we foresee at some point. I don't know when, but certainly we're going to be monitoring these cleaning activities and make sure that we have the correct protocols in place, looking at what CDC and EPA recommends, and also the industry standard. Fortunately, the janitorial service that we use at the main office does do hospital cleaning as well, and so we have the benefit of that experience and expertise that informs what we also do at the main office. Hope that helps, and that's what's up.
Hi, so the question is, we in maintenance are a bit nervous about corporate seeing that it's possible to operate on job sites only based on payments for labor. Is the idea that CIHA might totally restructure the maintenance group? And a follow-up question to that is, we see that our supervisors can work from home, but the daily influence on the worker is diminished. So I wanted to touch on that last part and the influence on workers. Thank you for asking this question. These are no ordinary times, and we'll continue to require adjustments in how we go about our daily activities. It's an opportunity for us to practice innovation in how we perform our day-to-day responsibilities and how we support staff in the field. This is a conversation that's happening not just in maintenance or rental properties, but across CIHA, and looking for new and innovative ways to be able to support staff, whether that's through technology, whether that's through teleconference, video conference, finding other ways to get information or have people available for telephone consults and things like that. So that's an ever-changing world. And I invite you, if you have ideas or suggestions about that, to reach out to your supervisors or reach out to me and let me know what those things look like so that we can make sure we're taking that into account as we navigate through these changes that happen relatively quickly. And the more we're prepared for that, the better I think we will be in reacting to what our new normal looks like at every step of the way.
Hi, everybody. My question was from someone who had a question that was posed by a resident. They were concerned because they have seen other residents on properties without masks and huddled in areas like smoking areas, not wearing PPE, and they wanted to know what was Cook Inlet Housing going to do about that. So just so everyone knows, we have been messaging our residents since about the middle of March around CDC protocols for best behaviors, which include wearing the masks, washing your hands, covering your coughs, social distancing. And we've been pretty specific about social distancing in common areas. We've closed common areas like libraries and computer labs, but there are areas like laundry rooms and elevators and lobbies and mail areas where people still have to use social distancing. So we have messaged this by physically posting on properties by robotext and robocall, and all of our properties have private Facebook pages where we have reiterated all of this same messaging. It is up to our residents to be on their best behavior, but because of this question, we will also post this messaging about masks and social distancing at the smoking areas on the properties. And we have sourced a local sewer to help us to make some masks for our seniors in case the reason that they aren't wearing a mask is because they don't have one. So this was a great question. Really appreciate it. Hope you all have a great day. Thanks.
Hi again, everyone. I'm still Gabe, and I am still the COO for Team CHA. The next question that I've been asked to address is very specific to our maintenance team, and in particular, the question is whether there are currently any plans to restructure the maintenance team based on our recent experiences. For those who may not know, our maintenance team has had to adapt its approach since COVID-19 began to spread, and that has meant, for example, not doing any non-emergency work orders and not doing make-readies for units to prepare them for rent. That's meant fewer working hours for most members of our maintenance team, although CHA did commit to ensure that all of our employees were paid at their regular rate for the entire month of April. The short answer to this question, though, is no. CHA has no plans at this point to make any kind of restructuring change to our maintenance team. Over the past several weeks, we've learned quite a lot about how to protect our employees and how to protect our residents from the spread of COVID-19 and how to mitigate the impacts of the disease. That knowledge and our subsequent preparation has put us in a really good place to begin resuming some of those maintenance activities that were postponed or delayed. So we believe that in the not too distant future, we're going to begin doing some make-readies. We're going to begin doing more non-emergency work orders, and that's going to mean that more of our maintenance team can get back to working at or near a full-time schedule. That being said, I definitely understand and empathize why people are concerned. More than 10% of Alaska's workforce applied for unemployment insurance during the last week of March and the first 2 weeks of April. And there's been about another week that has elapsed since then, so that figure is undoubtedly higher today. For the first time, the price of a barrel of oil has gone negative, below zero. The COVID-19 pandemic has affected the world economy and, in some ways, Alaska's economy in particular, to an extent that really couldn't have been envisioned by anyone at the onset of the spread of COVID-19. But CHA has been really well managed, and we're working strategically to attract resources and position Cook Inlet Housing to weather this storm as we've weathered other storms in the past. Thank you. Very good question.
The question about whether CHA would allow a higher amount of PTO to be rolled over at the end of the year because, we haven't had the ability to travel or perhaps take other vacation opportunities. As you know, we currently are in unfamiliar territory, which will have impacts to us 6 months from now, even 1 year from now. We don't know what the future will be at this point, but, CHA culture is to promote work-life balance, and we really encourage staff to take some time for rest, relaxation, and recharging, while at the same time keeping an adequate balance for the just in case. You may need some of that PTO to take care of yourself or your family in the future. We don't know, but I am happy to put this on my radar to look at the end of the year. Thank you.
I had another question about what we're doing related to our commercial tenants and wanted to respond to that. We have close to 30 tenants, commercial tenants in our mixed use and standalone commercial buildings throughout Anchorage. Ranges from nonprofit organizations to really small businesses to Real Sewing Machine, Northern Bank, dentist offices. So a pretty diverse group of individuals and businesses. And I think there's no straight answer, but what we have been doing is trying to listen to each of our tenants when they call, trying to connect them to some of the resources that exist on the Fed that are rolling out on the federal level. But also trying to figure out some workarounds if there's ways that we can help them weather the storm. Some of them are not deemed to be essential, so are effectively shuttered. They have no way to bring in any revenue to pay themselves or their employees, and so we're trying to do our best to work with them really on a case-by-case basis. Those calls get referred to me, and I sort of take it from there. I'd also say that our Cook Inlet Lending Center is doing a great job trying to understand what resources exist to help small businesses, in particular those small businesses in the communities that we're focused in. And those are often the small businesses that are hurting the most. Both Jeff Tickle and Trevor Bradford are working to sort of track what resources are there, and then start to think about what are things that Silk can do in the coming months to help the business community. Just another way that I think CIHA is involved in helping to improve our neighborhoods and the people that live there.
So the question is, if the chief counsel puts people back to work, will janitors be sanitizing and cleaning? It sounds like a concern about cleaning and disinfectant sprays and whether or not they'll be available for them to be able to use. That's a great question, especially as it applies to our residential rental properties. So we went through and looked at all of our common area janitorial cleaning contracts, evaluated how frequently things were being cleaned, made adjustments to have some of those things be done more frequently, especially the high touch points. Issued a standard personal protective equipment that all contractors have to, employees that are working for them have to use. And then lastly, talked to all of them about the cleaning and disinfectants that they're using and made sure that those are all on the CDC recommended and approved list so that we know that they're using a good quality product that will actually do the job we need it to do. I would encourage anyone who has specific concerns about perhaps a specific property or specific location or kind of cleaning to reach out to their supervisor. Or you can always contact the safety section team from Incident Command to address that specific concern. Thanks, and have a great day.
One of the questions that we received was about the possibility of working from home when we return to some kind of normalcy. You know, Cook Inlet Housing is always looking for ways to improve and innovate. I have seen us adapt, revise, and transform how we do our work and provide our services faster during this crisis than I have ever since I've been at Cook Inlet Housing. It hasn't all been easy, though, and without its challenges, and actually there's risks. You know, I think this topic is on our radar, and like any other changes that we may make, we will take time to really look at the pros and cons. So we're making the best decision for our staff and our clients. I appreciate the question. Thank you.
Here's a question. Jeff, Judd, and Tyler have set the bar high for facial hair standards at CIHA in the mustache and beard categories. I'm wondering when Gabe and Mark will begin leading the way for goatees and Fu Manchus. That's a great question. I've tried different facial hair combinations in the past, and to be honest, it's never felt right or natural. So I think what I'll do is I'll leave facial hair to the experts, Tyler and Jeff. And that's what's up.